Well, happy Wednesday, everyone. I'm glad you could be here to join me. We're going to have some fun today. We're going to make something that is nutritious and delicious and something that you can have every day. Now, often when we're talking about something that we're baking together, when I do a live, I say this is meant to be a treat. Well, what we're going to do today, it is absolutely going to be a treat, but it's a treat that you can have every day because we are going to do some scrambled eggs and we're going to dress them up a little bit. So let's get started on that. Now I got to tell you first, in my coffee today, I have got sugar-free amaretto. It is absolutely one of my favorites, and I hope you have a steaming hot cup of coffee beside you today. Okay, now I am going to make sure that I'm setting this someplace where I'm not going to get any grease splattered in it, because that is not going to make it taste better. Okay, should we get started? Do you want to make some scrambled eggs? I do. Okay, here we go. Now, you can see that I have a package of bacon out. Now, I have Kirkland bacon out, and the reason I buy this particular Costco brand bacon, now you can see on the front of this it says gluten-free. Well, everything that we have is. It also says, which way am I going? There we go. Lower sodium. I don't care about the lower sodium. What I do care about is the fact that this is not cured with sugar. So look at the ingredients on your bacon, because you want to make sure that whatever bacon it is that you're using is not sugar cured. Because if it is, now look, I'm just reaching right in front of us. If it is sugar cured, you're going to have a little bit more carbs than you need, and those additional carbs can cause inflammation. And we don't want to be causing any inflammation in our body unless it is the good kind that our body creates to protect us from additional damage when we have some kind of an injury. Now, I am only cutting off a wee bit off the end, so this would be about one helping of bacon, and we're just going to set the rest of that aside. Now, I'm doing this because we are going to put bacon in our scrambled eggs. Now, before we go any further with the bacon, though, first of all, I do not have an apron on yet, and it is a chilly day today, so I'm going to put on my penguin apron. And then we have one more thing that we need to do before we get started, and that is I have 2 tablespoons of chia seeds. Now, chia seeds are a wonderful thing to utilize in your diet. Now, just let me click one more time here. There we go. Okay, so chia seeds are awesome. Each of these tiny little seeds, now they are itty bitty. You can see that they are itty bitty, and each of them has a little invisible gelatinous envelope that it's coated in, and you don't even see that gelatinous little bit of magic until you add some water. Now there's 2 tablespoons of chia seeds here. We're going to, add 2 tablespoons of water. And we are also going to add our 3 eggs. Now we're going to just get these eggs in here real quick, and we're going to whip them up a little bit because we want these chia seeds to incorporate into our eggs. There we go. Okay, put those down in the compost. And where is my, there it is. Okay, now we're just going to beat this up a little bit. We're not adding any seasoning. We're not adding anything. we are just going to let these hang out together in this bowl while we get everything else ready. Now, I was a little bit later getting here this morning than I wanted to. It's just kind of been a crazy week, which means that I should have been a little more on top of things, knowing that it was a crazy week, but here we are. We're together now, and I am very glad that we're together now. So, 2 tablespoons of chia seeds, 2 tablespoons of water, and 3 eggs. And we're going to let those hang out together. And we are going to get busy with our bacon. Now, if you cut the bacon in the same direction that the bacon strips are going, you're going to have something far more similar to bacon bits. And that's in scrambled eggs. That's what we want. That's what I want anyway. Okay, now turn this way. And we are just going to cut them going this direction as well. And this does not have to be perfect. And if you don't like bacon, I don't really understand, but if you don't like bacon and you would rather use sausage, then you can definitely do that. Make sure, if you're using sausage or ham or whatever it is that you are choosing to use other than bacon, that you're choosing something that is grain-free and sugar-free. Cornstarch, vital wheat gluten, dextrose, maple syrup, all of these things are, there we go. Now we've got that on 5, so we're on medium. And we're just going to give this a second to start to heat up, and we're going to throw this bacon in there. Now, when you put meat in the pan, if it sticks right away, don't be worried about it, because that is just the protein adhering to the pan, and it's going to release as soon as it is ready. Okay, now we are going to add a little bit, just a wee little bit of bacon fat to this pan. We don't need a lot because the bacon is going to release some of its wonderful fat. Now, when you put the bacon in the pan, you can cook it. There we go. That is that. You can cook this bacon as soft or crispy as you like it. I like my bacon fairly soft. So, sadly, that means I don't get quite as much bacon fat out of it as people who like their bacon crispy. But it is still absolutely delicious. Now you can see that bacon fat is starting to smoke already. So we are just going to scrape our bacon in there. Now, if you guys hang out with me very much at all, you are going to know that I have this thing about touching raw meat, and I cannot explain why, but bacon is the exception to that rule. So, there we go. Now, we're going to get this bacon spread out so we have as much of it touching the pan as we can. Okay. Now, the next thing we are going to do is we are going to get 4 little tomatoes ready. You want to take a look at the eggs and the chia seeds? Let's get this all mixed up here again. You can feel the difference in it already. You can feel the gelatinous little bits of magic swelling up in there. Okay, now I have 4 little tiny tomatoes. That's all you need. Now, for some people, tomatoes can cause a lot of inflammation. So pay attention. Know your body. Your body will tell you the most amazing secrets about yourself if you listen. But you have to want to listen. Okay, now this is getting very done very quickly. And look at how nice that's browning. Now that is not the meat in the bacon, that is the bacon fat, and that is wonderful. Okay, now we're going to get these all sliced up. Make sure you wash them first if they're coming out of the store or your garden. You want to get the dust off them. Okay, so we have that done. And we're just going to set these aside in their little bowl again until we need them. Now, I am using the seeds and the juice and everything out of the tomatoes because that's the way I like it. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is take one handful. That's a very precise measure, I know. But when it's scrambled eggs, you don't need to be more precise than that. Now, I'll show you something else that I'm going to do. We're going to turn our pan off for just a moment. And we are going to take some of this bacon fat, scrape the bacon out. Oh my goodness. And we're going to add it back into, so that has just given back more than we took. So you can see that I have some beautiful brand new bacon fat in there, which I will use for pretty much everything. Okay, now our bacon is done, a little more done than I usually like, but it will be fine. And we're just going to give these a rough chop. Now these are radish sprouts. And these, whatever kind of sprouts, if you go to your local farmer's market, you are going to find all kinds of wonderful things. And you can use kale or lettuce or sprouts, collard greens, mustard greens, whatever vegetation you want. And when we're using sprouts, even if it's something that has more carbs in it when it grows up, usually the sprouts have got far less carbs in them. Okay, now we are going to get this started again. We're going to turn this down to 3, and I'll show you why we're going to turn it down. Now I'm just going to take this bacon out of here for a minute. Now this is going to beep in our ear, but that's okay. Okay, there we go. Okay, now we are going to add our scrambled, or our eggs and our chia seeds right into the pan. Get everything in here. Now here's the thing with scrambled eggs, and a lot of people do not recognize this. Scrambled eggs need to be taken care of while you're get one of my way up high. Now when you're doing scrambled eggs, it's different than an omelet. Make sure that you have some grease in the bottom of the pan, and make sure that you're scraping your eggs. Now this is important because we're going to add some more fat to this when they're done. Now this pan was not quite hot enough, and you can tell because you can see right here where the eggs stuck a little bit, and that's because I turned it off and did not pay attention to how long it sat when I turned it back on. Now this is pretty close to being where we want it, and I know it still looks raw, but it really is not. So now what we are going to do is add 1.5 tablespoons, or about 25 grams of butter. And we're going to let that butter melt, and we are going to mix it into these eggs, and it's going to leave these eggs being amazingly creamy. Now the chia seeds, you can see them in here, but it's not going to change the taste. Now this butter is cold, so it's going to take a little bit longer to melt down. So we're just chopping it up a little bit. Make sure that it's getting mixed in here. Now this adds lots of beautiful fat to your scrambled eggs and makes them nice and creamy. So, you know, if you've ever had eggs in a restaurant, most of the time, and there are exceptions to the rule, and I know that, But most of the time your eggs in a restaurant are kind of rubbery. Okay, but these are not rubbery. Now, we're going to add the bacon back in. We are going to add our handful of radish sprouts into the pan. And we are going to add our 4 small chopped tomatoes into the pan. And we are going to mix this all together. This is super simple. This is something that you can do every day. Grow your own sprouts. And you just want those sprouts in there long enough to wilt them a little bit. And really the heat from the eggs is going to wilt them. So we're going to have more nutrition from the sprouts and from the chia seeds. We're going to have more flavor from the tomatoes. Now at this point we're going to add a little bit of salt. Now you can add pepper. You can add whatever seasonings you like. Okay, and that is done. It really is just that easy. Now, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I don't have a production crew here today. So, this is just you and I hanging out here, having fun, and we are going to have some scrambled eggs together. Get this out of our way. There we go. Do you have a compost program in your town? I hope you do, because it is so helpful to the environment. Okay, now, on top of putting scrambled eggs on our plate, now watch this. Look at how beautiful this is. And this is a huge, big plate full of food. There's no way that I'm going to eat it all. I don't know about you guys. Now, just to add a little bit of extra, add a little bit more here. Yep, that is awesome. Now, use the small side of your shredder and just add a little bit of shredded cheddar on top, or Swiss, or Gruyere, or whatever type of cheese you want. It's always cheddar with me. I am a Canadian cheddar girl. Okay. Now we have a little bit of cheddar. We are going to take half of an avocado, cut your avocado all the way around, give it a slice. Make sure that you've protected your hand, because this knife can go all the way through. We're just going to slice kind of a little bit on a diagonal, and I'm not really sure why I always do it on a diagonal, but I do. And you can make them as thick or as thin as you like. And you can put cheese on top of these as well. And then just with a spoon, you can scoop that half an avocado right out of the shell and set it right on your plate. And just fan it out like that, and look at how beautiful that looks. Okay, and into the compost with that. Okay, now, when there is avocado on the plate, it just requires a wee bit of salt, a little bit extra on the scrambled eggs. Now you can add lime juice to this, you can add whatever you like, but really you have a beautiful breakfast plate right here. This is going to have you filled up and more than happy until supper time. So are you eating 1 meal a day? Are you eating 3 meals a day? 2 meals a day? I hope you're practicing intermittent fasting and you're keeping your food window down to 6 hours or less. But don't start there. If you haven't done it before and you're just getting started with intermittent fasting, be gentle with yourself. Start with a 12-hour window, and after 2 or 3 days, move that down to an 8-hour window, and then a 7-hour window, and a 6-hour window. And if you can get down to 4 hours or one meal a day, then that's fantastic. Now, look at this, is an absolutely beautiful bite. And that is incredible. Now, if you want to soak your chia seeds overnight, you can. If you do it the way we did, and they only have a few minutes to soak with the egg and the water, that's fine too. Pardon me. But one way or the other, it adds some extra nutrition and some extra fiber, and sometimes we just need that. So I hope that you are going to do your very best to live your best version of this shining life. Make some scrambled eggs. They are delicious, nutritious. That is so easy to do. Chia seeds and bacon, you can pick those up at the nearest Costco to your house. They're inexpensive. This is a beautiful keto meal. So treat yourself every day. Make scrambled eggs every day. And I will look forward to seeing you on Friday morning at noon Mountain. And hopefully between now and then you will have an amazing week and do your very best to live your best version of this shining life. That's what I'm going to do. And if you are in Central Alberta, I will be with my TSL Organics line at the Wetaskiwin Farmers Market this afternoon from 2:30 to 5:30 Mountain. So please don't miss it. Stop in and say hi. I would love to answer your questions about keto or about the TSL Organics line or anything else we find to chat about. So have an amazing day, and thank you very much for being here, whether it's live or after the fact. I look forward to seeing you on Friday at noon Mountain and again on Sunday at 10 a.m. Mountain. Have an amazing week. Bye for now.